By 1643, Musashi must have felt the intimations of what was to be a fatal disease. On October 10th of that year, in an act of purification, he climbed Mount Iwato in the province of Higo on the island of Kyushu, bowed in veneration to heaven, worshipped Kannon and stood before the Buddha, and began to compose the Book of Five Rings. This he would complete after 2 years of meditation on his experiences. Around the springtime of 1645, his disease, which is thought to have been some form of thoracic cancer, gradually worsened, and in April he retreated to the Reigang Cave on Mount Iwato, also called Mount Iwatono, where he had practiced zazen during previous years, and where he wanted to wait peacefully for death. However, he was convinced to return to his residence, where he could be looked after by his disciples. On May 12th, his disease becoming critical, Musashi gave out parting gifts to his disciples. His final act was to write out The Way of Walking Alone, or The Way of Self-Reliance, 21 points on self-discipline for later generations. On May 19, 1645, Miyamoto Shinmen Musashi died at his residence, by most accounts at the age of 62. A requiem was given soon after by the priest Shunzan, with whom Musashi had studied Zen. As the priest intoned the sutras, it is said that the sky suddenly clouded over and there was an enormous clap of thunder. Thus was it known that the great swordsman had passed away. The Kyoto Renaissance. I have never had a teacher while studying the ways of the various arts and accomplishments, or in anything at all. The Earth Chapter. This is an astonishing statement from a man who was not only one of the most famous swordsmen of his time, but also an extraordinarily skilled painter, sculptor, and metallurgist. We also know that Musashi was well acquainted with poetry, the way of tea, the recitation of No drama, and perhaps even carpentry. This necessitates an adjustment of the picture we may have of him as a man of strength and skill, both qualities he would regard as of secondary importance, who did little other than wander the country engaging other martial artists in matches he inevitably won. In order to make that adjustment, we must consider the world in which he lived and the people with whom he may have been in contact. Musashi was active during a time aptly called the Kyoto Renaissance, a period stretching approximately 50 years on either side of the year 1600. After suffering a devastating century and a half of civil wars during which countless art treasures were destroyed, ancient temples and buildings burned, and libraries lost forever, Japan